The Toyota Camry is America's best-selling sedan overall, but when it comes to electric vehicles, the Tesla Model 3 is the best-selling electric sedan. The Camry has a starting price of around $25,000, but the Model 3 has a starting price of around $40,000, which is substantially more than the Camry. However, when you go beyond just the initial purchase price difference and you calculate the entire all-in ownership cost between these two vehicles, you might be surprised to find out that the ownership cost for the more expensive Model 3 is actually very similar to the less expensive Toyota Camry. As I'm going to show in this video, the Tesla Model 3 truly puts a practical, luxurious, and tech-forward EV within the reach of many buyers and is more affordable than I think many people realize. In Tesla's recently released 2020 Impact Report, they claim that the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus has a very similar cost of ownership on a per-mile basis to the very popular but less expensive Toyota Camry. So let's take a closer look at the data that Tesla shared in this impact report, and then I also want to look at some of my past research and see how this compares to some of the calculations I did about a year and a half ago. So let's dive in to all the exciting details. In the 2020 impact report, Tesla said the following about product affordability. The Model 3 is the first EV in history priced on par with gas-powered equivalents, even before taking in consideration any regional subsidies and lower running costs. Unfortunately, most other EVs on the market today are still priced at a $10,000 to $20,000 premium compared to their direct internal combustion engine vehicle equivalents. Tesla included this graph to illustrate their point and show that the purchase price of the Model 3 is very similar to other entry-level luxury cars like the Mercedes C-Class, the BMW 3 Series, and also the Audi A4. Now, the reason I think it's important that Tesla shared this is they compared the Tesla Model 3 to other entry-level luxury vehicles. Now, some people may argue the Model 3 is not a luxury vehicle, but it clearly is. It has all the features that a luxury vehicle has in this price class. And you can afford a luxury vehicle like the Model 3, at least the Standard Range Plus version, if you can afford a Toyota Camry, because the ownership costs are actually very similar between a $40,000 Model 3 and a roughly $30,000 vehicle like the Toyota Camry. This is what's really impressive. To this point, Tesla goes on to say, over 5 years of average driving, the ownership costs of a Tesla Model 3 are roughly the same as a Toyota Camry. And also, the Tesla Model 3 has a base price similar to BMW 3 Series, but the total cost of ownership per mile is nearly on par with America's best-selling sedan, the Toyota Camry. Tesla then goes on to give the exact cost estimates of driving the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus based on data they have collected from their fleet. They say, our analysis shows that over 5 years and 60,000 miles, running a Model 3 Standard Range Plus cost 55 cents per mile. When it comes to how the running costs of the Model 3 compared to the Camry, they mention, running costs such as fuel, electricity or gasoline, maintenance, tires, and repairs for Model 3 should cost just over half of a mass-market internal combustion engine vehicle such as the Toyota Camry. Now, in this report, Tesla did not give the exact cost per mile of the Toyota Camry, but they did provide this chart, and if you look at the scale and you look a little closer, it seems like Tesla found the Toyota Camry cost to be around 50 cents per mile, roughly around that number. When you compare this to their estimates for the Model 3, there's about a 5-cent variance between the two vehicles in ownership cost on a per mile basis. When you extrapolate this per mile cost out to the total cost for the 60,000 mile 5-year period of time, it shows that the Standard Range Plus cost during this 5 years or 60,000 miles will be around $33,000, and the Toyota Camry's true ownership cost will be right around $30,000. Interestingly enough, in January of 2020, I published a video comparing the 5 and 10-year true ownership costs for the Toyota Camry versus the Model 3 Standard Range Plus. The numbers that I came up with my calculations are actually quite similar to the numbers that Tesla quoted in their comparison. Here's a screenshot with my calculations for the true 5-year or 60,000 mile ownership cost for the 2020 Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus with an initial purchase price of $41,190. And here's a screenshot of my calculations for the 2020 Camry SE with an initial purchase cost of around $28,405. As you can see, my past calculations pegged a Camry SE true cost of ownership for a 5-year, 60,000 mile ownership period to be about 51 cents per mile, and the Model 3 Standard Range Plus to be around 52 cents per mile. When you compare my calculations to what Tesla presented in their impact report, I was pretty much spot on with the Camry price estimates and about 3 cents per mile off on my Model 3 estimates. Because of this, I feel really good about these numbers that Tesla put out, and I do believe they represent reality. When you realize that a sedan with a purchase price of around $40,000 like the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus only costs around 5 cents more per mile to drive than the very popular Toyota Camry, it makes the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus look like quite a bargain and shows that even with a higher initial purchase price, the Tesla Model 3 is actually easier to afford than you might have thought. In addition, when you think about the long-term resale value of an electric vehicle like the Tesla Model 3 versus the Toyota Camry, which is a very reliable vehicle and comes from a great brand, Toyota, but it's still an internal combustion engine vehicle. And as the world transitions away from internal combustion engine vehicles towards electric vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles, even great ones like the Toyota Camry, are going to be in much less demand. There's going to be less buyers, and thus the resale value is going to be lower in years to come. On top of all this, the Tesla Model 3 can also receive over-the-air software updates and should have all the hardware necessary for full self-driving with a future software update. These software updates and the robust hardware that Tesla includes in the Model 3 makes the vehicle somewhat future-proof because when new features are available in the future, they can be added. The Model 3 also has arguably one of the best infotainment systems, only beat by the newly refreshed Tesla Model S and X, and it has built-in security features like the dash cam recorder and Sentry mode, as well as the ability to stream movies and videos from some of your favorite services like Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, and YouTube. There are, of course, a number of other useful and helpful features in the Model 3 and Tesla's other electric vehicles, and this list continues to grow because Tesla continues to add features to their vehicles. So really, to wrap all this up, when you take a look at the ownership cost comparisons that we've done, it becomes very clear which vehicle offers a better value. Yes, the Toyota Camry is initially cheaper, and it is a bestseller for a good reason. It's a great vehicle, but the Model 3 offers many more features at only a small cost premium, and in my opinion, the Tesla Model 3 is definitely worth the little bit of extra money that it cost during the ownership period. Do let me know what you think about my comparisons and these cost comparisons in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Patreon supporters who support me every month and help make this content possible. A special thank you to my performance supporters and also the other supporters listed on the screen. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community I've set up, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much.